All right, everyone. For several days, people have been talking to me about this term, clanker. What does that mean? I always thought that it meant for years and years now, this. Clank, clank. That's the whole point. Hmm. Delicious black Yunnan jig tea, by the way, from Jam and Bean. That's what clanking means to me. So when I see them trying to appropriate the term to use for AI models and things like that, or botting in general, it makes me slightly upset. We must stop them from appropriating this term. So I encourage all of you to make a video where you clank along and make sure to use hashtag clank and clanker and stuff like that because it would be funny. What's happening is that people that don't like AI, let's be a little bit more serious. What's happening is that people that don't like AI in general have decided to try and invent the term clanker in order to label like again like AI bots and things like that as clankers. So the idea is they're clanking around. They're robots. They're not actually real people. Or people that are in direct support of the use of AI or involved with the development of AI rather. Tech engineers and stuff like that. But that's not what clanker means. Find your own damn term. The first time that I saw the term clanker was actually on a meme that I saw on 4chan. I have no clue where it came from. And it was actually a World War One map. And the clankers were that was what the Axis powers effectively were labeled there. It was highly stylized and kind of surrealistic. Clankers was the term given to like the Germans and Austro-Hungarians and that general conglomerate of people. Uh, that's the first time that I saw it, and I didn't think anything of it at the time. People started using the term clanker on this channel because I always clanked my spoon around in my tea or coffee. Today it is tea. Mm, and very, very good tea it is. Again, get the Yunnan jig. It's better than any black tea that you've ever had in a Chinese restaurant. I can pretty much guarantee that. It's delicious, actually. And it's caffeinated, as most black teas are. So it gives you a little hit there. Probably this is about as caffeinated as a cup of coffee. So for those of you out there that are trying to appropriate the term clanker to apply to AI systems and the people that are involved with them, get your own term. We already appropriated that for ourselves. And again, this is more important than people think. It's like the term legacy media. The term had been sparsely used and was basically slumbering for an extended period of time. I began using the term, and then other creators started using the term, and now Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, is using the term. You can cause much more of an effect than you believe. It does not require even a considerable audience. When I first started using that term, for example, I don't even think I had 100,000 people following me on YouTube. And then it spread and spread more. And now, oddly enough, you've got legacy media using the term against other legacy media outlets. Fox News does this all the time, which I find frustrating. It's an unintended effect. It's amusing, though, to see a legacy media outlet using the term legacy media. Although, I suppose in Fox's case, we can give them a pass because they were incepted more recently. So you get a little bit of a hall pass, but still, you're misusing the term because you're not applying it to yourselves. At this point, I would argue that Fox News is legacy media. Linguistics matters. Think about it. There's an old adage, one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. The terminology that is applied to a group or that is applied in general to an idea or something like that matters because linguistics is generally how humans understand the world around them. A combination of spoken language, written language, and gestural language. This is how people understand what is going on around them. This is why Tyrannical regimes typically attempt to control the language that is used by attempting to prevent certain words from being used, by redefining things. So it's not a prison, it's a correctional facility, in other words. They're the same thing. It's not an asylum, which, we should be bringing those back. It's a mental health treatment center. George Carlin had an entire spiel about this, actually, about soft language. You should look it up. It's pretty funny, too. But it's also true. The best comedy has a little bit of truth in it, and simply satirizes things, by the way. The fact is that language morphs over time. It can be guided in certain directions so that the meaning behind a word or a gesture or something like this would change. For instance, if I flip you the bird, you're thinking I'm saying basically fuck off. If I were to do that maybe 300 years ago, people would be like, "Oh, it's your middle finger. Ye old middle finger." They wouldn't think anything about it because that wouldn't be a thing. If I go to Africa, in certain parts, of course, and I flip someone the bird, and be like, "Who cares?" But if I grab my ass while looking at a person, that is the equivalent. It's the equivalent gestural communication that you're giving, basically. With regards to words, it's the same thing. People often are goaded into using astroturf terminology to describe things, to describe people, to describe events, to describe ideas, which have been carefully manufactured for psychological operations purposes. Even logos and slogans and things like that, well, slogans, obviously. Logos for businesses, brands, and things like that. They are carefully crafted specifically to convey a meaning, and it seeps into your brain and it affects the way your brain processes information. This is, by the way, no different than Nazi propaganda or Soviet propaganda or something like that. It's the same basic concept, the same basic premise. Of course, corporations are not, Joseph Stalin. I'm not saying that, but at the same time, they're trying to convince you to buy a product, to buy an idea, to support some sort of cause, etc., etc. They often give themselves false labels. Look at No Child Left Behind. How many children did that program leave behind? Quite a few of them. Look at the Patriot Act. It wasn't patriotic at all. Clean coal isn't clean. The war on terror was never really about defeating terrorism. They all still seem to be there. Imagine that. So on and so on forth. So yeah, Clankdom is ours. We are the Clankers. It's like sort of like being the Goonies, I suppose, or something like that. And it's a club for cool cats only, who are a little bit on the nutty side in many cases. I know that I am. That's about all. Peace out.